On one side, you've got the brand new Intercontinental Champion and the undefeated former NXT Women's Champion. On the other side, you've got pancakes. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with match 2 of the Mixed Match Challenge. And like I said in the intro, this one was really easy to predict, wasn't it? And you guys know me, I'm very biased. I admit I'm biased, unlike most people, but I'm a huge fan of The Miz. Miz coming off of the 25th anniversary of Raw, which I'm sure we'll talk about at a later date, with his IC championship. And, you know, doesn't help that his partner is literally the only undefeated person in the WWE right now. And they're taking on Big E and Carmella, which, I mean, I like the New Day. I'm happy for Carmella, the money in the briefcase gimmick, the money in the bank. I can speak, I swear. It's late in the day, and it's even later in the day than it is when I usually say it's fucking ridiculous o'clock. But I mean, Carmella and Big E are mid-carders. Asuka ran NXT for the time that she was there, and Miz has main evented WrestleMania, so you kind of know where this is going to go. Carmella and Big E are representing Kaboom, which is a federation that I'm not particularly familiar with, but apparently they specialize in creating recreational spaces for kids and all. That's a pretty decent cause there. Miz and Asuka are representing Rescue Dogs Rock, which is pretty self-explanatory. Keeping up with some of the cool shit we had from last week. I mean, we had Finn Balor and Sasha Banks in matching jackets. You had Shinsuke Nakamura coming out in Natalia's father's jacket. You know, just showing some team unity and whatever. This week, Big E has a man's version of Carmella's fabulous attire and his own miniature women's Money in the Bank briefcase. Oh yes. Miz is, you know, a lot simpler. Miz just has the IC title that he just took from Roman Reigns and an undefeated opponent who speaks a bit of Japanese, and Miz speaks a bit of Japanese back, and that's all they really need to do to solidify their team. Miz and Asuka, I said this last week with Sasha Banks and Finn Balor, Miz and Asuka look like they're having a blast. I wish there was some sort of story that they could come up with on Raw to make this work. Like, I'm not saying do something as stupid as put Asuka in the Miz Taraj, because that's no. But I mean, I don't know what I mean, but Asuka and the Miz, they work. I mean, the only other person I could consider being in the Miz Taraj right now is Enzo, and that's a whole nother story for another day, isn't it? Brand new days dawning on 205 Live, and again, lots of things that will be topics of conversation sometime later. Getting into the I don't even know, I don't have a jumping off point really, because there's no, this is the one thing I will say about the Mixed Match Challenge, is there's no real intro or way to ease into the match. You basically start it, and I'm, like I say, I'm watching it as they upload it on Bolly Rules, so I don't know if it's any different when you're watching it on Facebook Watch, my friends in the States, because WWE fucked the Canadians again. But basically, the downloads that I'm downloading are basically, you hit play and the match is starting. I mean, they do some backstage pre-tape stuff, like as they're coming down to the ring, but that's about it. But Miz and Big E start the match, backdrop by Big E, an abdominal stretch by Big E, and then he spanks The Miz. And you know, say what you want about the New Day and all the awkward shit they do, it's funny, but when you've got somebody like The Miz who's so indignant to what they do, when you've got somebody like Corey Graves on commentary, especially, with the pancakes stacked up on his friggin' hair, looking like it's the personification of cancer sitting on the top of his head, it makes the New Day stuff better. And so when Big E's doing his gyrations and he spanked The Miz, and I mean, it's stupid, but the way Miz sells it, it's like, what the absolute fuck. Back elbow drop by Big E, and there's a "We Want Asuka" chant. Miz you know, makes his way to the corner with a big smirk on his face, you know, taunts the crowd a little bit, you know, you want Asuka, I'll give you Asuka. Miz tags in Asuka, which means Carmella automatically comes in. Asuka throws one kick at Carmella and misses, and that's enough for Carmella to jump out of the ring. Big E says he's got a plan, reaches under the ring, and picks out a big foam letter L. And he says, go in there and hand Asuka her first L. Wrestling's fun. Wrestling's allowed to be silly sometimes, and we are talking about the New Day. But go hand her her first... Stop. Asuka attacks Carmella with the foam L, which makes me smile. Carmella tags Big E back in, which brings Miz back into the match. Boot by Miz, stomps and he mocks the New Day. He goes back to his corner with Asuka, and they both mock the, you know, the New Day Rocks. New Day Rock. And they do their own little gyrations on the side, which proves my point. The people in this tournament are having a lot of fun. I can't take it too seriously, because it's not going anywhere other than the big charity gimmick at the end, which, as I've mentioned several times, is really, really awesome, but it's not going anywhere, so it's allowed to be fun. I mean, you got guys like Goofball from New York that are complaining that Raw last night was full of silly stuff. Of course it's full of silly stuff. It's fucking wrestling. Anyways, rolling overhead belly-to-belly suplexes by Big E, and a from-the-knees DDT by The Miz. Carmella tries to get involved and is cut off by Asuka. Now, it was cool last week when you had Finn Balor and Sasha Banks doing the stereo suicide dives, the stereo submissions, you know, everything side by side and in tandem. But Miz and Asuka with tandem, tag team, say it loud, say it proud, 2 sets of Daniel Bryan silly kicks. Oh yes, for both of their opponents. Boot by The Miz, who rides a headlock for a while, follows it up with a back and neck breaker by The Miz, and Michael Cole has never known what to call that. So I think in Michael Cole's vernacular, that back and neck breaker combination is called the Vintage Miz, which is really lame, but then again, it's Michael Cole. And Miz follows that up, of course, with a boot. Why are we doing this? Why? It's stupid o'clock. There should not be any notifications right now. Sorry, guys. Miz follows up the Vintage Miz with a boot. And then another boot. And then a third boot. The Miz works on the lower back for a while and picks his opponent back up and nails him with some more right hands because he can. Both men trade some punches for a while and there's a hangman by The Miz. Asuka tags herself in, forcing Carmella back into the match. There's a series of strikes by Asuka and a running hip attack. Super kick by Carmella, which I wasn't expecting, followed by a mudhole stomp and her version of the Bronco Buster. Several slaps by Carmella, which almost predictably brings the, oh, that was a bad idea, from Corey Graves on commentary. Another series of strikes by Asuka, a rolling armbar. Big E tries to get in there and break it up and make the save. He's cut off by The Miz. Submission victory for Miz and Asuka. After the match, Renee Young is in there interviewing Asuka, who's clearly not speaking English. Miz translates Asuka's rambling as basically, you know, she's learning how to be a champion from me and we're gonna win and we're awesome and shit like that, which is fine. And then we find out that next week Strowman and Bliss are facing Becky Lynch and Sami Zayn, which is going to make me smile. Everything that I've seen so far, all these teams are fun, but next week Bliss and Strowman is going to be massive. Lynch and Sami Zayn, I predicted as my dark horse to win the whole thing, but seeing as they're facing Bliss and Strowman in the first round, I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, so far, Balor and Banks are a fun team. They've advanced. They're going to take on Asuka and The Miz in the next round. And the winner of that is going to eventually take on Bliss and Strowman, I'm pretty damn sure. This is a lot of fun. I don't want to put too much into this. I don't want to ramble too much on this because it's a one-match show, and the only things I can really add extra to it are the little fun things that they're doing to make these teams seem more like teams. Really encourage you guys. I mean, I know I'm in Canada, I know over in the UK, etc., etc., etc. Basically anywhere that's not the States, you're not getting it on Facebook Watch, so you got to go find it other bullshit places. But I do encourage you to watch it. I know WWE came out 2 days later after all the outrage last week, because I bitched a lot about the whole Facebook Watch thing on Twitter. WWE on their website the following day gave some sort of little kitschy announcement. Hey, if you're anywhere else but the States, don't you worry, we've got you covered. We're replaying these episodes of the Mixed Match Challenge Thursday nights, 2 full days later, if you want to watch them. And I just sat back and I thought, anybody that wanted to watch it has found it somewhere else already, so why are you even bothering? That being said, go back and watch these. They're fun. They're not going to set none of these matches are going to set the world on fire. I wanted to review these because it seemed like a fun idea. If you want a more serious review, check me out tomorrow night for NXT. This is just for the hell of it. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I have. Please put your comments and reactions down in the box below. My response for the first match last week, as far as viewership and whatever, was absolutely fantastic. So thanks to everybody for that. I'm going to mention this more tomorrow when I do my NXT review, but I just crossed over into 700 subs on this channel, which might not seem like a big deal to you guys. I know pretty much everybody is bigger than me, but it's a big deal for me. So preemptive thank you to all of you. I'm going to get into more of that, like I said, tomorrow night in my NXT review. That's all I got for this week. Miz and Asuka advance in the tournament, which, as I say, was pretty damn predictable, but fun nonetheless. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality chick. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys. Don't